Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, we are back for another version of Chatterbox Reds. We are in the bottom, well, not the bottom because we're at home. We're at the top of the ninth, currently trying to hold on to a 6-2 lead, 2 men on with 2 outs. So I'm sure things will be interesting because why wouldn't they be, Nick?
Nah, we're good. Alexis Diaz time, right?
I think so. I was hoping we would be able to not have to bring him in. I actually somewhat agreed with the decision there of David to maybe try to save Alexis that way in case he has a couple more save opportunities. We don't have to sit him in a situation where maybe he can't throw 3 days in a row or whatever that limit may be. But we needed a day like this. Let's be honest. We needed a day like this. Felt like the track or the train was starting to get a little bit off the tracks, and we had some big performances today. Spencer Steer, I know, doesn't look like he is in the he's not in the J bar, but you know what? I'll bring him up because you know what he did.
He's part of the Big Red Platoon. That's just all about the offense. There's too many good offensive performances.
Okay, that's fair.
We can't be singling guys out.
So here's the thing. Nick. Though I do want to bring this up. Spencer Steer got moved up in the lineup today. He handled that pressure quite well. Just saying.
Didn't he hit second last time against the lefty? It's a platoon lineup. Trace.
Every time you say platoon, I always think of like a pontoon boat for some dumb reason. I don't know why.
The Big Red pontoon. Yeah, Steers hit second 3 times this year. So I think he hit second versus lefties. Steer absolutely demolished lefties in the minor leagues. My big concern with Steer, to be honest, going to this year was his ability to hit right-handed pitching because his numbers are pretty pedestrian against right-handed.
So
pitching.
you're thinking he's gonna have too much pressure if he hits second with a right-hander.
I don't know. It's a good matchup for him.
All
Lefties are a good matchup for him. David Bell's trying to set these guys up to succeed.
I love.
And you know what? You know what, Trace? Tonight they succeeded.
Let's hold our. Let's. Maybe you're ahead of me, but I'm not. I'm not one. I'm not saying that I'm a full-fledged jinx guy, but I tend to push back on the jinxes a little bit from time to time. I think that there's maybe a little bit of that going on, and then Reed Mouse of all people will usually try to bring me back down to earth when it comes to another non-jinx guy. Paul Fritchner's in the chat, I see. So maybe we can have fun tonight and ask if jinxes exist in the chat. Maybe we'll see what we get.
Hey, I didn't say
why
the
not?
Reds
Let's see what kind of crowd we got.
Win. I didn't say the Reds were going to win, but they
You
scored
said it
6 runs.
succeeded.
They scored 6 runs in 8 innings. You can't take that away. There we go. That's the ball game. That's the ball game. Ball game. Let's go.
All right, so we're going to rerun this intro, fellas, and we're going to get this thing off to a glowing start. But before we do that, I am going to put in the good old poll question. Do jinxes exist? Ready? Here we go.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to run the little back half of this intro for the podcast, and we'll get this thing rolling.
A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the
Reds win, Reds win, Reds win, as they say. Reds beat the Philadelphia Phillies. Just to remind you, the Philadelphia Phillies that won the NL pennant last year, 6-2. We'll get into the box score recap on the J-Bar. Nick Lodolo, the Big Red Platoon, as Nick Kirby says. Benson and Senzel's on the good old J-Bar. And, of course, obviously the Reds MILB. Nick, as I always do, I hope your day went well, but more importantly, what kind of box score recap do you do and your overall thoughts on the game?
Well, give me a second here. Trying to catch up, man. It's a big adjustment, 720 to 640. I tell you what, it's a big adjustment in my night.
There's no doubt. I to give you some time, I will say that my son who's playing Little League, and I got another son who's playing coach pitch, which is basically like herding cats. It took up most of my night. I got to see the last 4.5 innings. I tried to follow along best I could on my phone while I was at the Little League Diamonds, as they say. But overall, it looked like some guys had some good nights. I seen as I was tuning in from the ball field, I seen a great play by Spencer Steer at third base, diving stop to throw out, I don't know, it looked like Harrison maybe, like when I was quickly watching it. And then the offensive bats, India, again, India, I don't know if we're sleeping on him. I feel like he's just one of those guys we're starting to take for granted a little bit. And at the beginning of the year, we mentioned, hey, is he going to bounce back? Is he going to be the guy that won NL Rookie of the Year? Is he going to be this guy that struggled a little bit? Was he injured last year? Is that why he struggled? And so far this year, he looks like a dude. And he's continued to get us off onto I guess the right foot, as they might say. Hopefully, as I rambled on there for a minute, Nick, it gave you an opportunity to kind of run through a quick little box score recap. These things don't have to be perfect, but go ahead and just give an overall quick overview of what the night looked like. Yeah,
let's roll here. So, top of the first, Phillies were able to get a run. It was a brutal first inning for Nick Lodolo. Just a blatant missed strike 3 call to Kyle Schwarber. Then a double play ball that Kevin Newman was not able to successfully turn. Trace, it was a blessing that you missed that. And then Nick Castellanos made him pay with an RBI single. So really, Nick Lodolo got 5 outs in the first inning. But it was a tough first inning. But Reds bounced back. Spencer Steer, RBI single in the third. Got the Reds up 2-1. Although, sorry, the Reds in the bottom of the first. They actually stole a run. Jonathan India, who we were talking about, got that leadoff hit. He
doubled, right? He doubled and then he stole third?
Yeah, he stole third, and then JT Realmuto really probably shouldn't have thrown it to third. India really stole the base off the pitcher Falter, and ball got thrown away and India scored. So Reds were able to steal a run. Then in the third, Spencer Steer singled, drove home. Jose Barrero had a nice night. Then Tyler Stevenson singled. It was just a big single after single after single, just dinking and ducking off of Falter. Stevenson was a broken bat. That put the Reds up 3-1. And then Trace, Will Myers came through. He had an RBI single. Had a nice night tonight. Made it 4-1. Phillies were able to get one back. Schwarber homered off of Nick Lodolo. But overall, Nick Lodolo, a good night. 5 innings. I did allow 8 hits. Not a ton of hard contact other than the Schwarber bomb, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. But just another, night where Nick Lodolo gives you a chance to win, which is what he's done all year. Reds added on another run in the 5th, another RBI single from Will Myers. And then in the 6th, Jose Barrero absolutely smoked a double. I think it was 106 off the bat, make it 6-2. And Trace, the Reds bullpen, 4 shutout innings, only 1 hit allowed, struck out 7 batters over that 4 innings. So we'll get into a couple of those guys here in a minute. I definitely want to talk a little bit. Well, I tell you what, though, Alex Young has really, really pitched well. He pitched 2 perfect innings, 2 strikeouts. He has a 1.42 ERA, and that's on top of a spring where he was really, really good. So Alex Young is looking like a dude in this bullpen. I'll tell you what, I've been really, really impressed with what he's been able to do this year, and hopefully that was good enough for the box score recap. we'll clean it up tomorrow. But hey, at least our cameras are working, right, Trace?
Yeah, so far so good. You never know. I think we might have figured out how to work these things, but as soon as I say that, they might go extinct, and next thing you know, we might be frozen again. Who knows? Before we jump into Nick Lodolo, I know you mentioned he had a tough first inning. I do want to ask a quick question. I see, and again, I didn't get a chance to watch tonight, so maybe I missed some things. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole game. Evan brings up the point that Steer looks like he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate, as we've talked about before, but he says he hopes that his defense improves. Is his defense that poor? I mean, I've seen him. He looks athletic to me when I watch him now. To be fair, I've not analytically dove into Spencer Steer. Maybe you can shed some light on that a little bit, Nick, but he looks athletic to me. He looks like a guy that can make some plays. He made a hell of a play tonight. Now, I know just because you can make the razzle-dazzle play doesn't always mean that you're a good defensive player, but is there some truth to that, or?
I don't know. I don't know if he made a bad play tonight and I missed it. Maybe when the kids were going to bed. I don't know. I didn't see anything tonight. I know he had a rough spring, but when we talked to C-Train, they were all throwing errors, which I guess if that's the type of error you have, that's better than not having range or not being able to get to balls or your footwork and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry I didn't see anything tonight that made me think that. Spencer Steer is also a guy that's bounced around to a lot of different positions in his minor league career. Looks like the Reds are really trying to settle him in at third, see if he can take that by the reins. So I'd like to see him, have like a full season if that's the route that they're going to go. And right now he looks like a guy that can take over third base, OPS over 1,000. So yeah, I hope you got those Spencer Steer Rookie of the Year futures earlier in this year. I think we mentioned that in spring training. That was a good bet. So
off the top of my head, on Bedford Sportsbook, sponsors this show. Shout out to them, the Sportsbook of Cincinnati. I think he was plus 1,200 at the beginning of the year, somewhere around there. Yeah. Let's get into Lodolo. I'll kind of let you take the reins on this a little bit. I did get to see another highlight where he threw a backdoor slider that hit a right-hander in the foot. Looks like that's going to be a habit at this point. The beautiful thing with that pitch is, what's funny is there's times where I'm not sure that the catcher, and whether it's Casale or Stevenson, it doesn't even look like they're going to be able to catch the ball. It's so far inside, but since it hits the guy, he's automatically out. So what a pitch.
Yeah, Lodolo, look, the home plate umpire tonight was trash. And I don't want to be a guy who comes on every show and just trash.
When Nick Kirby calls you trash, I'm gonna have to go look at this guy's stats. I can't believe you said something mean about that guy.
He was trash. He was awful. Someone sent me shout out. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. Someone sent me an umpire scorecard of him, and he was like one of the worst rated umpires, and it showed. And not just Lodolo. Tyler Stevenson got a ball call that should have been a strike that was clear. He was just bad all night. So, but what I'm saying is Lodolo really had to deal with an umpire that had an incredibly inconsistent zone, not just a bad zone. It was an inconsistent zone. And I thought Lodolo really battled through it. He only had, like I said, he only had 4 hard hit balls, 15 swing and misses tonight. Defense didn't really help Lodolo all that much. Lodolo, man, he's a dude that's just, he's so polished right now. You can't ask for much more than you've got out of these first 3 starts. And man, as we're building a future, Nick Lodolo looks like a guy that's anchoring that future as much as anyone right now. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Let's run through that. Who right now is who's the Reds' best player? Like, just overall, like if you're putting him on, if you were making your MLB The Show rankings.
I think Lodolo's the best. I think Lodolo's the best player. Yeah. I mean, if you gave every other team in the major leagues like one guy that could just steal off of your team, I think
for 1 year.
Yeah, for 1 year. Yeah, this year, like at this very moment for this specific year, I think there's a good plethora of them that are going to take Lodolo.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the one guy that looks like consistently he's got his quote unquote good stuff or best stuff. Hunter Green could look better at times, but the consistency is just not always there. Graham Ashcraft, I've been incredibly high on him. I love Graham Ashcraft. I'm almost a fanboy at this point. But I think, just the fact that Lodolo's a lefty too. That adds a little bit of flavor to it. So I'm going to go with lefty. I don't think it's Diaz. I know there's some people in the chat saying Diaz, but listen, I don't think so. I mean, maybe if you're like a super team, but the vast majority of teams, in my opinion, Nick, are going to take Lodolo.
I think they're going to take 150 plus innings over 70 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how good Diaz is.
Right. Let's get into the Big Red Platoon. Not that we're going to rush the show. We're not going to rush the show. I'm not going to try to get off early. Okay, I'm a man of the people. However,
hey, we won. We're staying on all night, Trace.
However, I did start Ted Lasso. Just going to say that. I would like to make sure I can continue watching some of that. So keep the show moving. I'm not saying we're going to cut it short. Just we're going to keep it moving. So the Big Red Platoon. What do you got for me?
Hold on. What's your thoughts on Ted Lasso? I need to hear this.
It's been good so far. I'm not going to give it the great category many have. I've gotten through, I think, 4 episodes, so I'm very, very young in my Ted Lasso life. There is a dunk incoming. I'm going to probably get in trouble by my wife. That's 100% fact. But you know what? So many people have told me the Reds are so bad this year, I figured that I probably won't be in the doghouse too much because I don't have to dunk that much. So far, I've been okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to dunk. I'm going to dunk tonight. Sean asks in the chat.
I've got to ask you one really important question. Have you watched the Christmas episode yet? I can't remember what number that is.
No.
Of Ted Lasso. Okay.
No.
When you watch the Christmas episode, that's when I want to know what your thoughts are on Ted Lasso at that moment. I don't care if it's 2:30 in the morning that you watch that. I want to text. I want to know, Nick, I just watched the Christmas episode.
The last thing I seen was a charity event where the old rich guy that used to own the team came in, and his wife was running the charity event. He came in, gave $1 million check. I'm literally like 4 episodes in. So anyway, all right. I don't think many people give a rat's tail about my opinion of Ted Lasso, but maybe they do. I'll continue to update you. The Big Red Platoon, the pontoon boat. What do we got, Nick? Your overall thoughts? You're excited about it. I see how excited you are in your face. You're smiling. You love when analytics work. And you know what? I like that about you. You should have that edge, Nick. You should have that edge. When the analytics on your end work, you should come in here, storms, guns a-blazing. I'm going to tell you right now, if Kevin Newman hits for Jake Fraley one more time this year, I'm going to walk down to Great American Ballpark myself, and I will rip David Bell's head off. You won't even have to worry about him being the manager anymore because he'll be dead. I'll be going to prison, but you won't have to worry about it anymore. Go ahead, Nick.
Whew. No, I mean, the Reds, they hit Bailey Falter really hard tonight, 8 hard-hit balls. Just up and down the lineup. I mean, there was dude after dude that had 2 hits tonight. This was a really good performance from the Reds offense, and it was, they saw Falter twice in a week, and they made him pay more than the Phillies, made Lodolo pay for seeing him twice in a week. But yeah, I mean, you look through the Reds offense right now, there's a lot of dudes that their OPS is pretty high. Steers over 1,000, Fairchild, small sample, over 1,000. Friedel's over 1,000. Jake Fraley's 934. India's almost at 900. I tell you what, the Reds' offense has not been a problem this year. I think they played pretty well. Have they been great? No, but they haven't. It's definitely been a lot better than it was last April, where there was a lot of games where the Reds were scoring 1-2 runs. Most nights, the Reds' offense has given this team a chance. And Trace, what game was this? Game 12?
12.
There's only been one game this entire season that the Reds were out of it. And that game, they led 3-1 in the 6th inning. And then they ended up just getting demolished by the Cubs. But This team, I mean, I know they're 5-7. I know we're not throwing a parade. But this team has been competitive night after night after night. And I wanted to say that last night, but I chickened out. So I'm going to say it after a win and enjoy it.
Smart man. That's very smart of you. I can't disagree with you. I mean, they've been competitive. They you know what? They haven't really ever looked like they've been completely outmatched. I think on an individual basis, when you start to break down their roster and you compare it to other people's rosters, it does on paper look like they're outmatched. I mean, that part I will give you. But when you watch the games, that's the most important thing. Games aren't won on paper. They look the part. They look competitive. They look like they have good at bats. I mean, hey, if you would have told us before the year started that we were going to be 5-7, I think many people would have taken it just because based off the way that things have gone in the past. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's here nor there. I did not get a chance to see Senzel play because I was, as I said, out and about. And by the time I got home and flipped the tube on, it looked like he came in. Was he in the whole? This is where I'm completely naive. He got put in at second base when I came home. That's what I had gotten to see. And then I came down, obviously got the show ready, so I might have missed an at bat. But how did he look? Your overall thoughts on him?
The only at bat that I really remember was the first one where he did take a pitch that was pretty well right down the middle for strike 3. Granted, home plate umpire was all over the place, so I don't know about that. He struck out. He struck out twice.
All right, so it wasn't a good night. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Benson, what do you got on Benson? What's the tag team duo there? You got an opinion on that?
Well, I just thought it was something we should cover. It was big news story of the day in Reds country with Senzel being activated and Benson sit down. Look, I think that this is the right move. I think
it's the only move. It's the only move. That's what I was wondering. I was like, wait. I know you have Benson and Senzel in there. I didn't know if you had like a thought on Benson, or are you just saying that Benson was the guy? Because I thought that was like, I don't know. It just seemed an obvious thing.
Yeah, no, but I really hope that Will is able to go down to AAA, have some success. This was a guy that had a ton of success last year. He had incredible numbers at AAA. I hope with him, and I don't know this, but I hope with him that he came to a new team and he was just out there trying a little too hard. He wanted to say, look, the Guardians gave up on him. This is a guy that went all the way through their system. I know it was about more of a roster crunch than anything else, but they gave up on him and they traded him for younger prospects. And so I'm sure that he has a ton to prove. And I hope that he goes down there for a month, 6 weeks, whatever, hits the cover off the ball. When there's an outfield injury that's going to come at some point, he gets a chance to come back up. And I don't think we should be out on this dude after 20 at-bats.
No,
they were 20,
definitely not.
They were 20 terrible at-bats. I'm not sugarcoating that. But this guy look at his numbers at AAA last year. They were incredible numbers. I just think he needs to settle down and get some at-bats for Louisville. I don't think he played tonight, but I mean that makes sense. Usually most of the guys don't go down and play right away. But yeah, no, I just don't want us to give up on Benson.
No, I don't think we should. I mean, he's going to be a lightning rod when the team's not when the team's not doing well. Hitting 056 is tough to defend. However, what I'm going to try to somewhat explain in the most eloquent way I can is that if this team got off to a good start and Benson was hitting 120, 150, we wouldn't be as aggressive towards Benson as we would if he's hitting 056 and we were going on a skid and he looked clueless at the plate. I still hold out some type of hope for Benson just based off the fact that a lot of Indians fans, I'm not saying you can go to the fans and just assume whatever they say is going to be good and true. We know that's probably an idiotic way of looking at it. But a lot of their fans said we were going to love him. Like, hey, you guys are going to love Benson. We like Benson a lot. They saw something in him. I mean, he looked like a pretty good player at some point when he was at Cleveland. And there's no doubt in my mind that he, on opening day, from that point forward, just pressed incredibly hard. So, but there needs to be accountability in this organization. You can't just get free passes forever. You don't get handouts just because you're quote unquote trying. He got sent down for good reason, and hopefully he can figure it out down there, and maybe he'll come back up. And that kind of brings me to a point that I don't know if we should get into tonight because I want to get into Ted Lasso later. But I think this week we should discuss just the whole Joey Votto situation as a whole and really flesh it out with people and see what their thoughts are on it and just where the crowd is, because I think there's reasonable requests from both sides. It doesn't mean one side's right or wrong. And I can give an opinion on it. I'm not saying I have a super strong opinion on it, but I'd like to do some, we can do a poll question, which, by the way, the poll question, do jinxes exist? Dead even, 50%, just moved to no, 52%, 48%. So just saying. That is about as tight as a presidential election in the state of Ohio. So back to my point with Votto. I'd like to get into that, see where we feel about it, but maybe we can save that for another day. Let's do Reds MILB, and then we'll jump into the chat for some questions, and we will be back better than ever, as we always do tomorrow, but we have some good questions already. Do you want to jump into those first, or are you good to go for the Reds MILB? There's a lot that happened. Mr. McLean, by the way, inside the park home run action.
Yeah, I'll do my best here for Reds MILB. A little harder with these 640 games because the
they're not all over. Yeah,
not over. But we'll start with Louisville. They did lose 13-6. Louisville's now 2-10. My goodness. Brandon Williamson started this game, and man, he looked really, really good for the first couple innings, but then ended up with a rough line. 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. Walked 2, so that's a little bit of improvement. Did strike out 5, so I guess a step in the right direction, but we'll see. Matt McLean, though, got out of the slump yesterday, and then 3 for 4 inside the park home run. And then our old friend Matt Reynolds. I don't normally put non-prospects into the numbers or legit players that aren't rehabbing, but Matt Reynolds was 4 for 4 with the home run, so we're mentioning him tonight. Big night for Matt Reynolds. Chattanooga, they won 8-3. They're now 3-3 on the year, and if the Andrew Abbott hype train was not at full steam ahead, it is now. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 14 Ks. I don't have it in front of me, but Joel Lookup had a stat on Twitter about Abbott's last 5 starts dating back to last year. It was just insane. Couldn't ask for a better start of the season for Andrew Abbott.
How many times has he got to throw well till he moves up?
I don't know. The thing is I'm just not sure how much more difficult AAA is than AA. If you look at those rosters. So
according to Devin Resurrecto, he thinks that there's a pretty decent jump.
Yeah. I think. I'll trust Devin over.
Yeah, pretty good source.
Decent. He would know. But yeah, I want to see, like I said, I want to see this guy get to the big leagues. I don't think he needs to be rushed by any means. I don't think we need to call him up because Connor Overton sucks and we need a starter. No, it needs to be when he's ready.
I agree.
But I do want to see him this year. I'd love to see him this year. That would be a huge step in the right direction.
I think all the things that we asked for. Listen, we were down in the dumps a little bit yesterday, right? And this morning I woke up, and I should probably give the guy a shout out by name. You might be able to find it on Twitter. Mike, yeah, I think Mike sent a message just saying, listen, a lot of these guys that we talked about before the season that we were hoping we're going to get off to good starts are off to good starts. If we said before the season we weren't caring about wins and losses, then what's the problem? And he's got a great point. I don't want it to go unnoticed, chat. We can't allow ourselves not to realize or forget about Jonathan India. Jonathan India was a little bit of a question mark. A little bit of one. I'm not saying it was as big of one as a Spencer Steers of the world or the TJ Friedels of the world, but it still was a question mark. Tyler Stevenson was a little bit of a question mark. Anytime that anybody gets injured and they have to come back, they might not be the same guy. And we'll get into that with Joey a little bit, but it's just we have to appreciate the fact that some of these guys are growing right before our eyes, and it's okay to get a little excited. That's okay. Top 100 baseball rankings came out today, or an updated baseball rankings for the prospects came out today from Just Baseball. Shout out Clay Snowden. And Ellie De La Cruz was number one. He was over top of the guy from the Volpe kid from the Yankees. He was over top the, what's the kid from, I should probably know this off the top of my head, but what's the kid from St. Louis that just came up that's playing well?
Jordan Walker, playing well in the show.
He's playing well in Major League Baseball. They ranked him ahead of him. So, Sean, I'm done with you, Sean. Sean, stop it. Stop it, Sean.
It's a bit now.
It's 100% a bit. You know what else was a, you know what else was a bit is Kyle Schwarber. But shout out to Kyle. Good for him. He got a home run, even though he should have struck out. By the way, that's a shout out to the bad umpiring in that game. Schwarber got an extra strike, and he took advantage of it. The pride of Middletown. So,
one quick point on Ellie De La Cruz being number one. I gotta shout out RM Layton's the guy who does those rankings. He is. I think he's the best in the business. I tell you what, there's no one that ranks prospects that spends more time and effort into it. And it wasn't just like some big giant Reds homer or whatever. He's not a Reds homer. I think he's a Marlins fan. But he actually ranked Edwin Arroyo 93rd. So there was, that wasn't great to see. But the fact that the Reds have the number one prospect in baseball by arm, and this isn't going to be the first one that's going to rank him. Some of these other guys are
Cam Collier is 18 years old. He's a part of the top 100 list. I mean, that's.
But yeah, I'll say it. The season really starts when Ellie De La Cruz gets to the show. I mean, that's when this Red season really starts. That's that's going to be. It's going to be like 2008 when Jay Bruce came up. That was the moment of the season. So
right.
You want to run through the rest of these scores real quick?
Yeah, please do. Sorry for getting you off track.
No, it's okay. Okay. Noelvi Marte was 2 for 4. Last time I checked, he had a double. Nick Quintana homered. Then Dayton, they got smoked tonight. They're down 10-3 in the top of the ninth.
That's not too bad.
Austin Hendrick did get a hit. Edwin Arroyo and Tyler Callahan both did not play. And then they're in I believe a rain delay right now, or a lightning delay, or whatever you have in Florida. Daytona looking to go to 6-0. They are leading Palm Beach 2-1. Cam Collier did have a hit in that one. And that is your Reds minor league update presented by Bedford Sportsbook.
Thank you, Nick. I see some fun banter back and forth in the chat. Again, I'm going to say this every show. We got 46 people in here, which I don't take that for granted. I'll be honest. When we first started this venture, I don't know, maybe there'd be 10, 15 people that want to tune into a 100-loss team every single night or after the game. And I really do appreciate not only the fact that you guys enjoy hanging out with us, but you have a little fraternity in the chat, and that's cool. And all the people that listen to our podcast numbers in the morning, it's continued to maintain its steady pace and growth. And this isn't all about obviously just trying to make numbers and do all that. That's not what Chatterbox for the most part is even about, quite frankly. We just want to make good content that's fun, that's relatable to the fan. And I just want to continue to show the fact that I am very appreciative. If you could do me a favor, we got 45 people currently watching. We have 13 likes. I know some of you might be watching on a Roku or somewhere on a TV, so you can't really easily hit the like button. But let's see if we can't get that like button up there. I mean, some people say this, if you believe in jinxes, I'm just saying, some people say that if you get over 25 likes on a video, the Reds have been undefeated the next day that you've done that. Not saying you can go back and check it, but I'm just saying. So if you like that, maybe you can get us above 25 likes. We have plenty of people in the chat to do that, so just hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the notification bell so you know we go live every single night. Some nights we'll obviously maybe go live a little bit later than when the game ends. We like to go live right when the game ends, as we always do. But Nick, it's been fun. I don't want it to go unsaid for too long that we do appreciate everybody that's hanging out with us, enjoying this team. And again, we'll try to find the positives from time to time, and we'll be realistic and vent from time to time as well. And I'm sure the Joey Votto conversation will have differing opinions on, what the Reds should do with that situation. And no one's rooting against Votto. Let's be clear about that. We want him to play as well as he can. But if he continues to struggle, what do the Reds do? We'll save that for another show. Nick, I don't know if you have tomorrow's starters ready to rock or not. If you do, go ahead and fire it off. If not, I can find a couple of questions, obviously, in the
I was looking through the chat right now. Will Myers, Reds Hall of Fame? Yes, obviously. I don't know why that's even a debate. Yep. That's a silly question.
Mouse Cop said we probably aren't going to win. We're not going to lose another game all year. Very realistic.
Man, Mouse Cop is a roller coaster. I love it. Let's go. Hey, you know whose name I haven't seen mentioned at all in here? And it's very refreshing. Is David Bell. Do we only mention his name after losses? Is that how this works? Or?
Oh, look at the David Bell stand. Look at the David Bell stand, everybody. Hey, listen, Nick, I'm not against them. I don't hate the guy's guts. I'm just saying that I think that there's some times where it's reasonable venting. It's reasonable venting. And tonight, let's give David Bell his flowers, everybody. Everybody give David Bell his flowers. I got a soundboard here. I'll tell you what, by next show, I'm going to get some like funny little sound clips eventually that I'm going to get on this board. I'm going to run them. See, like let me play something that's really dumb. I don't even know. I have no idea what this sound clip is. But anyway, whatever that is, that's great. I'll turn it back off, but I'm going to get my little soundboard going, and I'm going to get David Bell like just some claps. So we can give him some claps on winning nights. Bryce, stop it. We don't do stuff like that. Bryce Spalding, shout out. Very nice and knowledgeable Reds fan we love very much, but he said should play Newman more, and he knows that's going to get under my skin possibly, and not about it.
I think clearly David Bell after the game last night must have thrown some chairs in the locker room. It just seemed evidence, I mean, I think that clearly led to the bullpen just pitching well tonight. It was because he threw a chair. It's because...
No, you know what happened? He sent Benson's tail down. He said, head on down to Louisville, son. And the rest of the team looked around like, oh, damn, you could do that? You can actually get kicked off this team? I didn't know that. Let's go win a game, guys. We don't want to lose our friends.
All right, one serious question that I did see in the chat asking about Barrero and do we think he's a long-term answer? I'm not going to – I don't have like a good answer for that. I will say I've been very impressed with how Barrero has looked at the plate lately. Had a nice night tonight. Had the hardest hit ball of the night for the Reds. He hasn't completely had all the results, but has had some results lately, which has been good to see. And I think it's a step in the right direction for him. Is it enough to become a major league regular? I don't know. But hey, maybe Barrero isn't a regular. Maybe Jose Barrero is the Kevin Newman on the next competitive Reds team, where he's like that extra infielder. And he would obviously be really good at that. A guy that has some pop off the bench, a guy that can play really good defense. If that's his floor, that's fine. But hopefully there's more to that, and hopefully we can just continue to see it this year.
All right, so here's how we're going to end this show. I know we haven't done this in a while. The Reds haven't won in a little while. There's a couple people in the chat that have already mentioned the dunk. I'm going to do the dunk. I guarantee you, without a shadow of doubt, that I will be asked when I go upstairs what I'm doing. But that's, you know what? I'm a man of the people. I'm going to do it regardless. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the tomorrow starters, right? You run through that. You come back. I'll go full screen of myself. I'll do a dunk, and then I'll sign us off. How you like them apples?
Love the apples. Love the apples. All right, so we've got a rematch of Sunday's game. Taijuan Walker against Connor Overton. I'll say it. Reds are undefeated in games started by Connor Overton this season. Overton 4 earned runs in 4 innings pitched in his last start against the Phillies, of course. Did walk 3, so got to clean that up a little bit. Taijuan Walker, Reds did chase him after 4 2/3 innings on Sunday, and he walked 5 batters. So hopefully the Reds can have that same approach. I'll run through the promos here off the bench. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Good stuff there. And then, of course, make sure that you like and subscribe to Chatterbox Reds on your favorite podcast platform. Trace, take it away.
All right, guys. This is how this goes. Nick's going to have to clear the graphic before he just shines on my light. He's going to have to clear the graphic. I'm going to wait for it. If he doesn't clear the graphic, you never get to see the dunk. Here it comes. All right, this is for all of you people, okay? This is for the people. There's no doubt in my mind that I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to slam this damn basketball so hard that David Bell is going to be jealous because I slammed it just as hard as he slammed those chairs. That's what we're going to do tonight. Ready for this? Much love to the chat. I'll see you tomorrow.